up close and personal so you can see all my flaws. But I wanted to show you guys my cataracts in the middle of my pupil there. Those white dots, I was born with them. A lot of times people tell me, they're like, no, Rachel, you don't have cataracts. Only old people have cataracts. Well, there you've seen it yourself. And so what I want to talk about too is how this has driven me to understand the importance of getting light into the eyes and onto the body as a daily practice, because the light that enters the body and enters the eyes specifically drives our circadian rhythm, and it also regulates cortisol and inflammation, which are things that everybody seems to be struggling with. And the thing is, excuse me, I had a little burp there. The thing is that you deserve so much better than to be in this place of confusion. This is how I really feel about it, is that we don't need to sit here and struggle when we can keep things so simple. We are like plants. When we don't bring our bodies into the light, like a plant, if you lock it in a closet, it will die. It will not grow. And we are the same way. There's that book that I read by F. Hollowich. It's The Influence of Light on Ocular Motor Perception on Man and Animal Metabolism. And he took people who have cataracts, like myself, and people who are blind, and found that they have lower levels of glucose metabolism, but also their entire circadian rhythm is off. So I go into the sunlight because my life depends on it. All of our lives depend on it. But if you're struggling, if you're getting older, right, we all at a certain age will develop cataracts. All at a certain age. The aging process itself is a dysregulation in immune function. It's an increase in cortisol, an increase in inflammation, right? But it doesn't have to be. You can always work with the natural elements. And a lot of times people think sunlight, okay, vitamin D, right? Yes, vitamin D, but so much more happens in the sunlight. And it is so important to protect your melatonin. When we go into the sunlight, we create the most melatonin that we do, almost like other than anything else. We create melatonin as well from the amino acid tryptophan, which is why I talk about eating higher amounts of animal protein to get enough tryptophan to break down into serotonin, to break down into melatonin. Tryptophan also is broken down. All of our hormones, all of our food, our digestion is guided by the light. So in Robert Sapolsky's book, I was reading a while ago, he's one of my favorite teachers, find his videos on YouTube. He was talking about how he has struggled with depression his whole life. And he was talking about how just because we eat a lot more tryptophan does not guarantee that you will get out of a depressed state. And it's so right, because tryptophan, right, depending on our light exposure, depending on so many different factors, tryptophan, a needed essential amino acid, can break down into a kynurenine pathway, which is linked to inflammation and disease. So it's not the fuel always, most of the time, right? Like, go to the doctor says, oh yeah, you got high cholesterol, your triglycerides are off, right? It's the car. It's not the fuel, it's the car. How is my engine running, right? And a lot of the times our engines are so disconnected from Mama Nature. We experience anxiety, depression, these beautiful symptoms that are guiding us back towards nature, God's creation, whoever you want to call it, quantum field's creation, right? Like, there's some innate intelligence, all that little picture of the cell that I always show. Everything is in its proper place and order, but how, like, you have no conscious awareness of that. Something else has, like, created that, right? Because something beautiful and intelligent, immune function is a great example, is always surveilling the area, always protecting us and going out into the sun and bolstering that immune function. When we build melatonin is a gladiator of the nighttime. Melatonin regulates that fight or flight and rest and digest system. It regulates our autonomic nervous system. It's so important, because we lose this function as we age. But a lot of people, my heart hurts for all of the women my age who have struggled with endometriosis, infertility, insulin resistance. My favorite one of my favorite doctors to look at, and that favorite book is Alzheimer's Dementia, What If There Was a Cure by Dr. Mary Newport. That book is so incredible. It should be a required reading, just like A Course in Miracles. He talks about how in every disease state, insulin resistance plays a part in that. And I call insulin resistance light resistance, because when we go into the light, we're training for insulin sensitivity. When we're eating protein, we're training for insulin sensitivity. When we exercise, we are training for insulin sensitivity. All these things, when we say no to things that we don't want to go do, we're training for insulin sensitivity. And guess what? I keep thinking of this sentence. Sorry, I'm kind of scattered right now. I'm just excited, but I keep thinking of this sentence. For every 2 that you lose, 6 come to you. For every 2 that you lose, 6 come to you. And it reminds me of the mitochondria, because the mitochondria and the little powerhouse of the cell, there's tons of them just in one little cell, and they can actually create more of themselves, and they hold their own DNA, which influences the genetic DNA from our mom and dad, right? So mitochondria is epigenetics. It is, we can influence the environment of the cell to have more energy, because they're the powerhouse of the cell. But for every time you say no to an event or to a person, to whatever that you really don't want to do, there are 6 more opportunities coming to present to you. Because with the system only can hold so much energy. This is the law of entropy within physics. The body has like a basal metabolic rate, right? And we have rampant cortisol, rampant inflammation. The body can only take so much chaos for so long, until something has to give, something has to buckle, and then we'll look at a diagnosis. So all of a sudden I had all these symptoms building up, and then one day, boom, diagnosis. The body's always telling a story. But so anyway, insulin resistance, and Dr. Mary Newport's work on Alzheimer's dementia, insulin resistance is a part of almost all disease states, just like vitamin deficiencies are, just like mitochondrial diseases are, right? You know, you get to a point where it's like, okay, there's something happening in the machinery that's off. And so maybe I'll start there first. How can I fix my machinery first? And there's so many different people. Like, I want to say David Sinclair, he was like a Harvard scientist. He did a lot of work with fasting, but I think he talks a little bit about the Horvath clock and the circadian rhythm clock, the timing, just getting light in the eye. And I'm telling you, I was born with cataracts, but if you don't have cataracts, you have a higher ability to let light hit your eye. And when it's hitting your eye, it's doing so many things. You're training your brain, you're training every single organ center in the body. You are doing skin care, you are doing mitochondrial care. And it is the highest form of love you can give to yourself, is just going into your circadian rhythm, going into your body and saying, look, I love you enough to give you what you need. It's something so simple. It's easier than exercise. It's easier than eating properly. It's easier than going to bed early enough. Just going into the light at any point in time in the day is like just letting your body be still, and you receiving so much information. So many things happen, you know, so it's something so simple. Well, I think that's my rant for right now, but we have all these diseases that are occurring at earlier ages in time. Like I'm 29, and so like I'm listening to all my friends around me and people I know who have PCOS, who have endometriosis, and these diseases link to infertility. And it's sad to me. It's really, really sad. And you know, these diseases, the insulin resistance, you know, but this also leads into an earlier diagnosis of Alzheimer's dementia. You know, some of these life-threatening, scarier diseases that people are petrified of. You're petrified of losing your memory, but we don't really appreciate what we have until it's gone. And a lot of us, we just don't know. We don't know that we have other options. So if you do know someone who is struggling with these things that I'm talking about, I I hope that you're able to send it to him, and I hope that this video gives value in some way. You know, I just have so much passion in my heart. Sometimes I don't know where to put it all, and I'm on a mission to learn more, to be better, to do better, and to show up around other people in a calm place, and to allow others to feel safe in my presence, and to be able to help people when they're struggling, you know. So, that's all I gotta say. Protein protects your light. Go into the sunlight. Give yourself the rest. That melatonin window is from like 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. So we are creatures of nature. So all of us, even if you think you're a night owl, you know, we are creatures of the light, and it's important for us to sleep at night. And if you work nights or anything like that, it's just important to see the sun whenever you can, and to support the body through protein, which is an essential requirement for us. So anyway, I love you so much, and I wish you the best of luck. I will definitely catch you later.